All right, so we are live in Facebook. So thank you everybody on Facebook for joining us. I'll send the link to join the Zoom meeting here in a second. But welcome to Off the Record. This is now on the record for this version, but it's Airtable Secrets and Lore. This is week 16. We're a group of Airtable users looking to optimize our businesses and lives and are open to hearing from anybody about their experience, good or bad, using Airtable to make a positive impact in the world. We attempt to promote from any level to share their ideas or ask questions, also share our experiences, tips, and practices, and offer ways to get help and get involved in the community. We meet every Wednesday from 7 p.m. Eastern to 7:30 p.m. Eastern in Clubhouse. So we all just came from Clubhouse, and then we come in here in the Facebook group and go live from 7:30 to 8. So to kick things off, I think today what we're going to be going through is a Pory demo. So Chris, if you have anything up already, you can share some of that. Otherwise, what we have been talking about is how Rebecca can use Pory in some of her trucking company systems, and just how great Pory is compared to Stacker and many extensions. And
well, I wouldn't say it's great compared to. I'm just saying I tried Stacker for a long time, talked to their CEO, nice guy, all that kind of stuff. I just think for the pricing, it just to me it's just better. But yeah, I'll give you guys a little preview. Before we get too far though, Daniel, is it possible for you to tell people a little bit about what you're doing? I hate to put you on the spot. A little bit about what you're doing, a little bit about your hunt for data. You don't have to demo if you don't want to, but just tell people like you're thinking about your base and then how far you've got. Because Rebecca, I think you'll like what he's building.
Okay. Well, I was watching your concepts about time and eternity and stuff, and I come at it from a little bit different perspective, but I was definitely intrigued by the concept of trying to understand what's going on around us moving forward into time. And so I was trying to find the moon phase data at sunrise, sunset, and trying to figure out a way. Okay, how do we actually like bulk download this? And I sent you a DM, and you gave me. Where did you pull yours?
Mine was from timeanddate.com.
Right. Timeanddate.com. And so I started looking through that and started reading through their terms and conditions actually. And apparently they only give you a 1 year license to use the data. And they also caution against storing it in a database. And so it was like, and on top of that, they have like a $300 or $400 fee. I was hoping I was going to be able to pull something off of their free option, and noticed that their locations was various islands in the Atlantic and Indian Oceans. So I'm like, okay, there's gotta be some other option somewhere. Someone's got to be pulling this data. And so I came across weatherapi.com after probably 2 or 3 hours of Googling. And weatherapi.com actually gives you 1,000,000 API calls per month for free. Or
Wow.
1,000,000 API? Is it? Wait a minute. Yeah, 1,000,000 API calls per month for free. And their terms and conditions are a lot more flexible, shall we say. But the quirky part, though, is that they only allow JSON responses. And honestly, I am not any sort of a JSON aficionado, guru, geek, anything at all. And so I'm like, okay, what can I do here? And so, Ben, if you want, oh, you did give me the option to share my screen. Okay, I'm gonna see what I can do here. Let's see, share. Okay, So what you should see here is I've yet to pull the 2023 data here, and what you see here is let's go ahead and get all of the dates for 2023. So there's the dates. And this is the weather API source URL. Here's my API key. I hope nobody's going to copy that. My city. And then this is simply a concatenate of the date and the API key. So we'll drag that through here. And that gets us all the API calls that we'll need. Okay, now I'm gonna switch. Oh, stop share, and now I'm gonna give you another view of. Let's see here. Let's see. Hold on. So what you should see is a Google Drive listing here. And I found a Google Sheets add-on from Epiphany, which I've currently got a epiphany.io, I believe. And I've currently got their trial set up. So for 30 days, they actually give you a tool that'll pop up here in a moment.
Daniel, if you're sharing, we can't see it quite yet.
Oh, okay. Let's see here. And let's see, share. Are you seeing a Google Sheet now?
Yep.
Okay. So you can see this epiphany.io scenario here on the right-hand side. And what they've got is a option to put a list of URLs per line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy. Let's grab, hold on. We're going to grab just the first 90 days of, okay, hold on. And there we go. Copy. Push that over there. Grab the first 90 days of, no, the first 120 days of 2023. Come down here, append, and run. And every 2 seconds, it will send out a request via Google Sheets and to actually grab the data, all of the astronomy data, parse it, bring it in via JSON, parse it, drop it into this Google Sheet, and we'll have a spreadsheet here in a moment. Okay, there we go.
Cool.
And so you can see location, region, and then it's actually got the sunrise, sunset, and the moon phase here. And now the only real quirk about this is that it's not actually pulling the date. So that's where there's a little bit more spreadsheet.
Well, isn't that the date in H? No, that's this local time. Okay.
Correct. Now, theoretically, if I could decode Unix local epoch time.
There's a website. I do it all the time. There's a website.
Okay.
I do it all the time.
Okay. Well, what I end up doing, and I can show you here, is I then once I've got all of the raw data, we can look at the raw. Okay, this should be the. You should be seeing a spreadsheet here. What I've done is this is the data I
was just saying, I'm also looking at a thing on the Airtable guide that you can convert that time in Airtable using a date add formula.
Okay. Okay. Um, this is the raw data that we pulled in, and then I sorted that where I just basically just chopped. Um, this is okay. Give it, yeah. So I just added the dates back from what I had. Grabbed sunrise, sunset, calculated the day length, um, which literally it's just C minus B, properly formatted as times, and then that enabled me. Once I went through all of the spreadsheet chopping and shredding and all of that, that enabled me then to come back to Airtable and literally just paste in sunrise, paste in day length, paste in sunset.
Did you get the lookup working for the images?
I did. That actually was a little crazy, but as you see here,
Yep.
that was a link to. There we go. Link to Moon Phase library, and literally, we can see that here. I just had the phase names, pulled the icons from Joy Pixels.
You got Joy Pixels?
Yeah, I went for the free version, but that gets
Are they a
me
free
up.
version?
Yeah. As long as you're doing it for non-commercial personal stuff, you can get it for free up to 128 pixels by 128 pixels.
Wow. Okay. That's
so.
Cool.
Yeah.
We need an affiliate program with Joy Pixels.
So literally I can paste into the data and it automatically pulls in the moon phases. I've started just I've got some basic.
Oh, good. You're doing the ratings too.
Yes. Yeah. I'm doing the ratings too. I was about ready to start adding the reflections and realized that it felt like there was a journaling aspect here, and then there was a journaling aspect in the other base that I've got going on in my version of now. And so I was kind of realizing, wait a minute, like this feels like I've got journals going in two different systems.
And it's because mine are Now and Forever are the two names, but the Now system is the one that runs my like. Yeah, yours looks exactly like mine. But I'm looking at all the names, like it's exactly like mine. But my Forever, it's funny. I literally wanted to pull the spiritual side out of Now because I didn't want the two to actually mix. The other thing is my Forever is used by my family in a different way than my Now is.
Okay.
Right? So when my husband does his journaling and stuff, it's in the similar system, but it's pulling in who did it. So his journals are hidden from mine, but we can see larger trends. So Daniel, I'm so proud you did that. To me, I think Daniel is just slaying it. I will show you something real quick. Rebecca, did you get a chance to look up Joy Pixels last time when we all met?
I have not had time to look at it.
All right. So there's this other cool thing, Daniel, you might like, because again, I see, like I always say, you have to make Airtable tasty. There's something you can get called Icon Jar. I'm a demo icon jar for you. So Joy Pixels is great because, of course, you get all your Joy Pixels in here, right? So you got, the 6.5, the 6.0 set. I've been buying the sets as they come out. But what's hard sometimes is finding the Joy Pixel you want. So let's just say you want to come here and you want to find something like Monster. Like, what this does is it allows you, Icon Jar allows you to type in a few key phrases and find the images you want. So as you're designing your base, you're designing your reports, something like a browser for your assets is really great. Then you can come in and just copy it, or you can export it out in any format you want. So if you want it, transparent, you want to make it bigger, smaller, it's really cool. But the other, like the really groovy thing isn't that, but you have your Joy Pixels here, but you can have other sets. So maybe you've got, I have to use Mac icons for a lot of things I design for clients. So I've got a bunch of like stock Mac clients. Icon Shock has like a bunch of really cool, like little just neat little icons.
So
but then one of my favorite ones.
This is like a font manager, except you're for icons, eh?
Exactly. It's
Okay.
that's a good way of putting it. It's like a font manager for icons. I think they charge for it, but I also know it's free, part of a couple other programs. Streamline, there's another set that I bought if you ever want to check it out. If you don't want like that poppy stuff and you want your business to feel, your Airtable to feel a little bit more businessy, streamline icons for your reports and your bases is super nice. It's also really great. So if you've got like a base or certain types of records, maybe you've got records for configuration and a base for interfaces, all these different, what you do is you create like an icon for that type. So whenever you create a new record, it automatically has a thumbnail. Does that make sense?
And then
again,
I feel like you showed us before you could display. Is it just emojis for the icons of bases, or can you actually do like custom images as well, or like custom icons?
No, you mean for the base itself? Like the base thumbnail? No, I meant like thumbnail of a record. Okay, that can only be emoji. Yeah.
Right.
But my favorite one I was going to show you. Yeah, my favorite one I was going to show you guys real quick before we get this. This was I backed a company, the designer last year who made something called SymbolCon. And what she did was she went through and found all the esoteric symbols in secret societies from every nation or every kind of part of history, and actually created all the different symbols from like the Hopi Indians. It's just so cool. So like if you ever watch, Norse, mythology, and she has all of the symbols. So it's like really cool if you're into like weird stuff too. It's a great little thing. Okay, but let's get into the actual demo for Pory, because that's what we said we were going to do today. I just know a lot of people watch this show. They also like, well, what are some cool things I can add to it? Because data without pictures is just ugly. So let's get into what we're supposed to be doing, which is all this. So this is my spirit table. I showed you guys this last week.
Looking
at the automatic,
definitely reminds me of how ugly some of the bases I have. These ones are sexy.
Is this base showing now?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Again, this is great because if I come in here tomorrow and I want to be able to have it pull a tarot card, automatically pull a tarot card for me right there. Come in here, link it, all that kind of stuff. Let's get into Pory. So what I like about Pory is a lot of times you're designing an Airtable solution, it just becomes, let's be honest, it's a spreadsheet on steroids. It's not very nice. So I always think what's really important is to have like a Miro stack, right? This is like Chris Dancy Thinking 101. A Miro stack just allows you to. Those are temporary. They're not even real. Like it's not a real thing. Yeah. Cool. You've got a whole, with your whole, what you're trying to design your product to do. That's your Miro. The next thing is you've got your Airtable, right? We all know your Airtable. Airtable is just, it is what it is. A spreadsheet on steroids, like they call it. But then you've got your end product, right? So what is your end product? Well, your end product could just be Airtable. It could just be like a really pretty version of Airtable where, you use the gallery view for something, right? People, I think you fall short. Or maybe you just do a bunch of apps. You want these apps to kind of like, maybe you want that to be your Airtable. To me, I think you really need a front end. And that's what I like about Pory. There's Pory, there's Stacker, there are things. But what makes Pory so special to me is it's really inexpensive. So we look at the Pory pricing. Pory pricing right now is free just to get it going. You have a Pory domain, like anyone can use this. Like Rebecca, you can try this out after I show you how to get this working. Starter's only $12, and that can be on a custom domain. So if you wanted, Rebecca.com, you could do your base, or Daniel, if you wanted your forever base on a domain. And you've got growth, which has membership. So
on the custom domain, do you know if it's like you can what do you call it, like a subdomain? Like if you can go like pory.chrisdancy.com, like can you?
Yes. So you can do, like, if you already, I already own chrisdancy.com. So if I wanted to make this Pory site like crm.chrisdancy.com, I could do that.
Nice.
That's a combination of domain management tools and Pory's custom domain feature. But you just come in here and you would just create like a Pory domain. If you've never done anything when you just want to get started, what I always tell people is just go in and create a blank site. They'll offer you a template. Let's just take this food template, hit next. What do you want to call it? We'll call this off the record Devin's Kitchen.
I was actually going to say that looks like recipes, like a good recipe database.
Right. And then it's just there. So like right away, you've got your Pory site, everything done. Problem is it's not connected to your Airtable, right? That's the thing. Like, how is it not connected to your table? So to connect it to your Airtable, you just go into Airtable settings. You say you want to connect to your own base. And again, you don't have to do this. What I tell people is always start with a template it'll copy a template for this particular Pory into your Airtable so you can play around if you just want to like play with them, right? But if you're feeling daring, you can say, I want to connect to my own base, and you can come in here and you'll see it'll pull up all your different bases, right? So I actually think I might have a kitchen database in here. I can't remember. Is it kitchen? Yeah, home kitchen menu. I did not plan on doing this, so it's kind of funny that it's there. Someone wants to know what your content table is. So my content table in mine is just main or ingredients. And it says, how many records do you want? What do you want to sort by? I'll say field name. How do you want to sort? And then a filters table. We'll talk about more filters tables in a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. So what that's going to do is it's going to come in and try to fetch records. So right away, you can see there's an error fetching records. So I know for a fact there's an error fetching records because it does not like Airtable bases that have table names that have emoji, which is very sad for someone like me. So I have to come in here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to change this base name to just foods. Now we got foods. I'll jump back into Pory. Am I going too fast or is this the right good speed?
This is good.
Okay. I'll go back in here and I'm going to go back into Airtable settings, kitchen menu, and I'm going to change it from ingredients to foods. You'll see it's real time. You saw it just pop up. It changed to foods. I didn't have to do anything, right? I changed the name and it's right away. It's here. I'm going to go ahead and save this. And then let's go ahead and edit these cards. So what's nice about these cards is you can come in here and you can say what you want on your cards. Okay. My card view didn't work. Airtable settings. I'm looking at foods. 12.
There? You didn't sort.
Say that one more time.
It says
yes, you can sort how you want it to. Yeah, how you want it to come in.
But you didn't pick a field there.
Oh, I didn't.
Nope.
I'm sorry. I'm going way too fast. Oh. I never used this recipe database. I don't have a filter yet. We'll use ingredients. We'll figure it out later. Save that. All right. So then it pulls in. You really can't see your record yet because it doesn't know what to make these things look like. So I'm going to say edit cards. So I'm connected now. And it's going to say, what do you want your card view or your modal view to look like? So your modal view is kind of like the overview or like the little preview view. So I'm going to say, well, modal view, I want my title to be name. So the first name is Bertzels, which is like my favorite kind of pretzels I make with my partner. And then what do you want like the picture to be? And then for a picture, I'm just going to use, I think I have this image header. And you can see there's a picture of the Bertzels right there. So there's my Bear Pretzels. I'm going to save this.
View is similar to like a gallery view. And then what was the other?
Yeah, so like gallery or modal, right? So if you think about modal looks a lot like, so see how I've got these, I can click on these cards and like this is the card view. The modal view is like the preview. I think this kitchen database, I've never used it before. It looks like it's straight up. Yeah, Bertzel. So it looks like it's doing it in reverse. So let's go ahead and just finish doing these cards. So I'm gonna come in here. I've got my Bertzels. I've got the name of it. For gallery, I'm gonna go ahead and say this is actually point of record image editor. So you can have a picture of your Bertzels. And then you want a subtitle with your Bertzels. And maybe I'll use the ingredients. Not the ingredients, doesn't look nice. Detail. Yeah. So that has the ingredients for what to mix to make these bear pretzels. I'll save that.
And you could add more fields to those cards, right? Like if you had different fields.
Yes, that's the great thing. So you can add exactly. So you can add as many fields as you want. But where it's really cool is you can see right now, I don't have a filter table, but if I had a filter table, I could come in here and actually select these filters. So let's look at one with more of a filter in just a second. But as you can see, it's super simple to like throw together a front end for any Airtable. If you wanted to add another section, maybe you want to add like, I want to add a page to this right now. I'm going to come in here and go down here to feature. And I'm going to add this little feature section. And I'm going to drag this feature section below the menus. And put it one more down. Sorry, I'll drag this down. And we're going to just change this to edit this. There we go.
Now, if a field is blank, what happens when it's on the cards?
It just won't show there. So if one card, like if one record has a field and no one does it, it would just be blank in the list. So you can see when I zoom in on this, it brings up this modal and it actually gives me the full menu instead of just a preview or the full instructions.
Right. Yeah. No. I'm actually. This is like, this is the perfect example because I literally like have a filtered recipe search thing on our website in Squarespace using some janky plugins.
You would love this, and I'll show you how the filters work for recipes. But again, so you've got like Chris Dancy's food, and then I come down here and say what I want Chris Dancy's food to be. Well, feature 1 is fats, and feature 2 is sugars. Right. So think about this now. You're just building a whole website based on your Airtable data that looks really nice, and we'll call this fats, sugars, and salts. Right, and then you could edit that, and then we'll go ahead and publish those changes. Done.
Can the cards?
Right. So right away you're building. Sorry, say that again, Ben.
I was going to say, can the cards do anything with linked records, or is it just displaying that record?
Yes. Yeah. So linked records come in. They can have downloads and attachments. I'll show you a more robust one. But again, what did we do? We brought this up in less than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Right. Right. But maybe now you want a whole second page. Let's add a second page in here. So Devin's secrets. All right. We'll just call this /secrets. Add page. Now we've got a whole nother page in here. What do we want the top of Devin's secrets to be? Well, first we want people to be able to sign up. So we'll come in here and edit this. We'll call this Devin's world. All right. Maybe now underneath that we want a footer. So I'm going to go ahead and add another section. Footer. You can come in and sign that up. We'll drive the footer to the bottom. Boom. So right away you can start. Yeah, everything defaults top. I always have to build my whole things in reverse. So what's really interesting is you can start to have a whole website built on this. I come in and say,
and then if you add a header with the menu, then you can then add links.
Yes. So I was about to do that. So if you want to actually have your header have the different pages across here, I'll show you how it works. So that's just a real quick. I'll get into one that's just a little bit more fleshed out. So let's look at.
Basically wondering how I would seamlessly put this into an existing website. It's kind of like where I'm going with this.
Oh, if you want, okay. Yeah. So what you can do with Pory is you can actually embed this into a current website. There's an embed feature.
As like a embedded block though, if you're thinking Squarespace, like.
Yeah. So if you're thinking Squarespace, you could do it as an embedded block. Yeah. All right. So let's go back to this employer app store. So right away, you can see this one is a lot more robust. I've got filters on here. But when I come in and say search and filters, it comes in here and says, what filters do you want to use? And how do you want to display? Do you want to display this tags or a dropdown? Because maybe you want a dropdown, Devin, right, of the different ingredients. Maybe you want them to be tags. And filters just work as literally a table inside your Airtable called filters. And then that gets tied back to the table where you're displaying the data as a lookup.
So are those field names?
So these are if you go to the actual innovations table, you'll actually see these filters coming in as drop downs. So this filter 1 knows to look at the filters table for this filter 1. And it does the match.
See, now that's getting weird because it's like not linked. Like it's like, I have to think about this.
Once you think about it, it's done. Then you just do all your filters in this one filters table. And what's really nice is like I've got a couple bases that have multiple types of filters depending on the table that I'm showing. And you just say, don't show those. And just so you could have 100 filters down this list and you between drop down tags or none. And the page you're looking at, you show or don't show them, if that makes sense. But it's super easy because now you've got a header page up here where you've got all the, where we had Devin's secrets. So you just come over and what you call the second page, what you call the third page, what you call the fourth page. Now I have not done an embed, Devin, but we can try to figure it out right here live. I mean, I'm not afraid. The other nice thing is these integrations. So again, if you want analytics, they've got Google. If you want chat, they've got 2 companies. Right now, I'm for my HOA database and my habit store. I'm doing Crisp, and then you can do custom code. But what's super nice about these sections is if you wanted to add a section, you can grab a whole nother Airtable, not even from the same base. Like say you want to look up another base and add it to a site. You've got one. Do you understand what I'm saying here? You're looking at maybe, I'm trying to think of like, I've got one I could show you that it'll make sense. So I'm going to go into habit store. So this habit store main base is looking at the data, the Airtable that I use for collecting really cool solutions. So if I come here and say Airtable setup, you'll see right away it's looking at habit store, its main tables, habit store content, etc. But if I go to another part of this website for the habit store, you'll see that I'm using a completely different Airtable to look up the FAQs at the bottom. These are coming from another Airtable called Balance. So on one website, so if we go to the habit store, one website is using multiple Airtables with multiple filters to create these dynamic views. So there's that one. If you go back to Balance, you've got all these. So again, I'm sure Stacker and I'm sure these other websites are great, but at the end of the day, if I could have one website with all these robust sections, right? There's a lot of cool sections in here, right? It looks really rich. You can see the icon jar from Joy Pixels, and at the same time talk to multiple Airtables, and at the same time enable chat, and then at the same time maybe you want to have not only chat, but you want a whole memberships subsection where you log in, right? Because I can log out and then the HOA stuff's going to go away. I can log in and the HOA page itself is going to be visible to me. Because right now the HOA page is not visible if I'm not logged in.
So how does the credentials work for like users?
Perfect. So as soon as you enable, I'm going to go ahead and show you. As soon as you go in here and enable, let's talk about Wimbledon Estates. As soon as you enable membership under the users section, it asks you, where do you want the users table to be for credentialing?
So then you have their list of email and passwords in that table?
Well, you have their list of emails, and then if they need to set their own password the first time, they'll get sent a temporary one to get in.
From
forced to change
Pory?
From Pory.
Okay.
And they're forced to change it.
So Pory holds the passwords and you hold the emails.
Exactly.
So you're not like getting a bunch of people's like.
Yeah, you don't want that.
Yeah.
You don't want that. Yeah. Where you want the and then you can have custom emails go back to these people. You can have protected pages. So what pages can these people see once they're logged in versus not logged in? How do you want the onboarding email to look? And where do you want people to go or not go? So, I mean, it's, to me, I know they're just a small company and they're not charging a whole lot of money, but this is kind of like a really groovy little system, if you ask me.
I think it's great, especially for the community systems that you can build on here with like the login and the portal feature.
Login multiple, again, you guys can't understand how powerful multiple Airtables is, because maybe you're a business, you've got some stuff in one Airtable, not, different, I'm sorry, a base. You got one stuff in one base, you got other stuff in another base. I mean, Rebecca's stuff she was talking about earlier, this is perfect, right? You would just mash up multiple and just views, right? I didn't even get into like, okay, I'm looking at the space, but now I'm going to take just a view from that base for these people and just a part of a view from another. So you have even the view capability, right? And then you add on the sorting and the filtering and then just the rich text above and below to explain stuff. Once they add record updating, game over. Game over. Because at that point, and you can already do record updating because I'll go back and show you.
You can do a form and run like
you can do a form.
Automations
exactly.
if you need to update the
Exactly. So if I come in here and I think down over here on the about, I think I have a section where you can update right there. So you can put a form in here now. But what they're working on is actually rich forms or smart data entry. So you'll be able to come in here and like, it doesn't look this janky way that we're all used to now. And I'm just like, well, at this point, you've got an app.
Can you do multiple user groups in terms of like permission levels or like groups per?
So, the drawbacks. Access? Are you ready for the drawbacks?
Okay, yeah. Because I was thinking, okay, what if you wanted to sell, say, some kind of content, right? You're like, okay, well, different groups who purchase different content can then be in a group to access that content or like that web page or something.
Yeah. So the drawback right now, they don't allow multiple people to manage one Pory, right? So if the four of us wanted to do it, we'd all have one access to Pory to get in there to do that. But when you think about it, once you have a Pory set up, you really don't need more people in there. You just have that one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that to me is, that to me isn't as much of a as a something that's a showstopper as other things. The other thing that's weird is if you wanted to come in here and parse out, like maybe you want to have one huge Airtable, and then people get access to that Airtable, right? So you guys know I have that spiritual system I built, right? The whole kind of like, this is this is that. I call it pagan app on Twitter or forever personally. So let's talk about that. So if I wanted to sell that through Pory, I'll show you guys what that looks like in a sales model, right? So in a sales model I've got right now, people can sign up and they can follow the Twitter for free. They've got the information. They can sign up for 99 cents. This isn't live yet, but it's there. I'm just not doing it because I want the rest of the app to be there. They get an email sent to them every day with the same information from wherever. They could sign up for $1.99 or $4.99, have the integration to the calendar, so it rates right to their calendar. But what I want to do is to be able to sell this as a journaling app. So hundreds, thousands of people could come in here and use the Forever app that Daniel's building. But when they log their own journals, it'd be tied to just them. Do you know what I'm saying? To do that, what I'd have to do with Pory then is create some type of view where when you log in, you only see your records. So that means I'd have to create some type of identifier when someone logs into Forever to know that that user is them. Now, maybe it's just because I have that membership table, Devin, you talked about earlier.Maybe I just do a linked record to the main table. So every time they create a journal, because it's just one journal per day. But then I'd have for each day, like if I think I've got 3,000 days for 10 years and 10 users right away, I've got 30,000 records. Right, so right away you're going to hit that 50,000 records really quick.
This is
right,
these are the same kind of problems that Ben and I ran into when we were fooling around with making Instagram in Airtable.
So
and also like a view per user and such. Like
I feel like the solution there is.
I was going to say, I think the way we could do it is using. We're all talking. We're getting that crossover thing. I'll stop.
I was just gonna say, I think the solution there is having people just submit their journal entries as a new record each day. That way you don't like create 3,000 in advance for every single person. They just get to see what they get to see.
Yeah. But, at the end of the day, I think this is the journaling solution. I'd rather just sell the spirit table. And that's what I was planning on doing. Yeah. And then sell up if people, and that way Airtable handles the upgrades. If Rebecca wants to keep her journaling and her tarot and her gemstones, you know what I mean? It's just her Airtable. And she wants to add on, like Daniel said earlier, but it's not tied to my life. Well, maybe Daniel wants to add the checking system, right? Or his financial system. Whatever that is, I just think we need to come up with a minimum viable human kind of Airtable. Like, what does every human need in an Airtable to function? And then let people do all the kind of Airtabling outside of that. Oh, well. Was that a good Pory demo? Did you like it? Did it make sense? Did it seem easy? And to me, it's so easy. I was so afraid, but I've spent months on it now. And it's just like, this is just so simple.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to dive in and explore.
Maybe next week, Devin, we can take your recipe database and we can make a Pory out of it live on air.
Perhaps, if I have it in a database format, which is questionable.
You have it in a spreadsheet? Would you do everything in Squarespace?
It might be partially built. I think I started doing that at one point just for like internal purposes. Like, oh, you know what? It's chilling in my my change control table, which I haven't quite built out yet. I built a base to I'm in the process of building a base to manage change control. I can show it if you want. I got to go in 5 minutes, but here, I'll pop it up.
Show it to us.
Yeah, so basically this is like useful if you're, I would think this could be useful in a number of situations, but basically for our purposes, it's like marketing assets. So basically you'd have like a list of every asset that could possibly change. So like, yep. I even have things like, the front label or like the Pantone, like the product itself is something. And maybe
I was a change manager in the 90s. I get this.
Yeah. And I haven't really fleshed this out entirely yet, but the color, and then we've got, different cell sheets for different purposes, and different, and then all these recipes and stuff. Right. So it's like, so then you've got all this massive list and there's 1,000 more things I have to add, which is part of the reason this is kind of still in its infancy. Is so then you've got asset dependencies. I should move this here. So basically, if these are all tests, so basically, test asset number 1 relies on test asset number 2. So if you thought about this in terms of like a label would rely on color and product, right? So if the color changes, then the label has to change.
Is everybody seeing changes in here? Because I haven't seen anything change in there.
The screen's not moving. You might be in another screen.
What are you seeing?
Change control.
Right now we're.
1 second. Does this work?
Yep. Looks like it.
Can you see it when I bounce between?
Yep.
Okay. Did you see the asset list then?
No, it was kind of stuck on that one screen.
Oh, okay. I don't know what it was stuck on, but basically, yeah. So you have assets like, label, color, product, all these different things, in use or not. And you'd basically list absolutely every piece of creative material you have. And so I've got some test assets down here, and then we have asset dependencies. So basically, if test asset 1 is dependent on test asset 2 and 3. So like this could be like if the label is dependent on the color and the product, and perhaps the typeface or an icon, or the pack size or something.
Yeah.
Right. So then then we have revision history. So every asset would have like an original revision,
an audit
date.
Trail. Yeah.
Yeah, and basically, if it's revised, it's got a revision, date, and then the production, like the editable production file, and then also like the published file, and then it's got a bunch of math going on here, and basically comes back to the asset list, which I believe is colored if the primer requires change and if the update is required. So I think like this requires change because something else changed, because 2 and 3 changed after asset 1 changed. So basically you then, don't know what this is, but you basically flag the assets that need changing. So basically what you could do then is like in here, you can almost fool around and say, okay, if I was to change the color, what would have to change? And then you get a massive list of things you'd have to change. So if you're like evaluating or rebranding or something, then you could evaluate the impact of doing that.
So this actually has a name, what you're doing. Yeah. It's actually called a configuration management database, if you want to look that up. And what the CMDB will do for you by looking that up is it'll start to help you think about this, Devin, because you've got all the different kind of inputs and outputs and where you want to go to it. But what you can't see, can I share this screen can I show you a picture or something? Real quick. What you can't see yet is how the CMDB is actually the hub of a large business-based spoke system. So as of the hub, the CMDB is every single configuration. We call them CIs, or every single configuration item. Like
this
you
where
said,
you host your taxonomy and stuff too?
Exactly. And then your change flow, so what you're talking about now, comes in one way, but also your knowledge base around those items. Also your ticketing engines, also your escalation engines if those things go down. And these other things are things you probably heard of: service desk, help desk, continuity, availability manager. I know you're already doing availability, Devin. This entire process is something called ITIL, or the IT Infrastructure Library. It's about 30 years old. I was part of the creation of all of this stuff a long time ago. But what's really nice is once you see this, you can start doing this type of thing where you have configuration mappers. And that's what you want, Devin. You want to be able to come in here and say, we've got the financial service, whatever the seed service, which is tied to these services and these applications, which are tied to these things, all the way down, you said, to the branding.
Yeah, I mean, this is like basically what I was building this for is basically for the marketing team, like which I'm a part of, because we struggle to like know which version is the latest and what has to update if something changes, and then we were like all of a sudden it's a rush. It's like, oh, that thing's not updated because this thing changed. So that's like, it's really about like
on my particular website. So the thing that runs my life, I've got a marketing table, which has my website by slug on Squarespace. And then when you look it up by slug, it links to the different assets and other companies that I've done work for. Right. So if I've done an interview or a keynote for someone, that keynote is then tied back in here in my customer database. So if I go to my CRM, my archive, so everyone I've ever done work for, and that information is tied in there, and it's linked to the front end of my website. Does that
Yeah, no.
makes sense? So you've got your CRM, so what you sell out to the world, and of course with these CRMs, you've also got like if you've gotten any feedback or like I've got references tied to this. Like my references are tied. So there's the National Safety Council.
Yeah,
event
I didn't even think about the website in context of this because a website page is now going to be an asset.
Well, your website page is your front door to the internet, right?
No, I didn't think in terms of like assets. So like a website page, is
a huge asset
on all these other things too.
Yeah. It's a huge asset. The website page has to be an asset. That's why there's a marketing thing that has the website, and then what customers and what media are linked to me and my website. So you've got, basically you've got your products, so the keynotes and different types of service, so do workshops and keynotes. Those are tied to customers. Those customers are tied to references, and that's all tied back to CRM, either prospects I'm working with now, customers that I'm currently delivering, or archived people I've done in the past. If you want to see the whole thing, it's customers by type is probably the best way to do it. So there's all the events, there's all the media, there's all the consults. So what I'm trying to do is kind of get a way to put all of that in Pory. Because if you could browse not only my professional life through filters, but maybe my healthcare. Remember I showed the healthcare records, right? And allow people to do that. Or have people browse, like, you guys also know I keep like all the assets on my house in here, right? Mm-hmm. So if I come in here and, there's healthcare, we talked about that earlier, but just like websites, remember we talking about, you just have websites and asset? Well, so are the apps, right? People always say, why do you have assets here? That's like all the stuff you own in your house and like everything in your whole world. I'm like, yeah, and it helps me kind of manage like, we just got the shed put in today, so we're about to update that asset record. But like these assets are in places, right?
Yeah, warranty dates and
warranty dates. But then you also have assets inside of applications. So this Hue application is tied to these assets in my house. Yeah. Does that make sense? So you really want to start to think about your whole life. And again, I always tell people, like obviously Daniel's done it. Go back and watch one of my demos where I show you that configuration, that ERD of my life, and just copy it. You know what I mean? But if you don't start really simple with, again, table 1, entities. Who are you? Who's your spouse? Who are your pets? Table 2, my table 2 is values, right? Again, I think, Ben, you and I should just do like a whole month long where we just build this out for people step by step.
Video series.
We could even like make it sound like Airtable. We call it like Dare Table. Like I dare you. We could even do something like that. I mean, people would probably like that. Built on dare, You guys are thinking he's a mastermind. He's a mastermind. You guys are thinking he literally just did that in front of everyone. And okay, yeah, he did. Most connected man.
Nobody even dared you.
No, I dare you.
Anyways, I have to bail. I've got a beers with some buddies coming up in 10 minutes. But
all right, go enjoy. Keep your mouth and face covered. Don't get COVID.
No. Zoom beers.
Oh, Zoom beers. Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Even better.
I haven't gone outside. I went outside to the yard, but yeah.
I can tell by the pasty skin.
Yeah, I don't go anywhere. But welcome to Berta.
All right. Talk to you later, Devin.
Have a good one.
All right, Ben. I didn't have any other news except that the sales. Do you want me to show you the sales thing? We'll just end there.
Yeah, that works.
I don't know where I saw it, but I snagged a screenshot of it. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but sometimes Airtable will like show you stuff and then like it's not there the next day.
Oh, yeah. I remember seeing this because I thought it was very ironic about them promoting them offering help when.
Yeah, but look at this. They've got contact support, onboarding tips, keyboard shortcuts. This is great. But I can't remember where I found this in Airtable, to be honest with you. Maybe was it over here in apps or automation? No, it's not there. I don't know where that thing is. Oh well. Look for this somewhere in your maybe under help. Is there help? Search. No. Maybe it's just like a one-time fluke. They showed it to me and then now it's gone.
No, it is under help.
Where do you go to help? Where's help?
It's right next to the notification bell.
Notification bell. Oh, I see it.
Nobody ever uses it.
Yes. Now, maybe this has been there for, I've never seen this before. Had you guys?
No, it just popped up for me today.
Yeah, this is really cute. Hey, it's Taco. Taco, burrito. No, I always mess up his name.
It is Nacho.
Nacho. That's right, Nacho. I always remember it's N before T. It's Nacho. Nacho is getting huge. Nacho, the Dare Table mascot.
Yeah, he was here the first few weeks. He hasn't been here in a while.
All right. Well, I guess do we have anything else for this week? I don't know. The Pory demo was good. And we should try to do something like Dare Table where we help people. We should do that.
Yeah. Yeah. We should. My only comment on Airtable offering help was I saw multiple people in the Built on Air Slack community this week say that they hadn't heard back from support, and
they have or haven't?
Have not.
Yeah.
They not. And then whenever like Airtable will promote their support to go to the community forum and say like answers, people get answers within like 24 hours, but it's all like the people, the Airtable consultants in there, like bidding for work, basically trying to give free value. It's not actual Airtable.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I've had some, there's a guy on Reddit who was freaking out because he got $400 bill because he added all these collaborators and, the same type of thing. It's like, and then of course Gareth came out with a video, but yeah, enough about that. And it just, there is space in this marketplace for someone to come in and offer low cost, fast help. You know what I mean? And instead of all this other stuff, I don't know. If you watching this show, reach out to Ben, me, or Rebecca. And if you want to get involved in this, we'd love to get some fast help out there to the folks. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, I got a chakra chart because I'm learning about chakras from my Airtable database. Isn't that nice?
Along with the crystals.
Well, yeah. Well, crystals. I've been learning
chakras and
for some time. Yeah. So the chakra. Yeah. So you put the crystal either on your crown chakra, your third eye chakra. She's got her crystal. Your throat chakra. So you put them all down here. But yeah, it's cool. Well, we'll just sell this someday. This is my latest crystal. I don't know what it is. Well, this is Airtable secrets and lore. So we're on the secret side of this now. And the same day, I picked up a pendulum chart because I'm learning how to work with pendulums.
Interesting. Like to hypnotize someone?
No, so you hold a pendulum over a board, and it's depending on how it swings, it answers questions for you. So I actually have a magic board. Do you want me to get my magic board and show it to you? Okay, hold on a second.
Yes. It's looking like we've been live successfully for the first time in a few weeks. It hasn't stopped all episode.
Wow. All the tech working at the same time.
So this is my pendulum board. And the way it works is you've got letters and answers, yes, no, etc. And you lay it flat. Obviously, you wouldn't do it like this unless you're defying gravity, and then we should talk. But you would just lay this flat and you put your pendulum over top of it and you'd ask it questions. And depending on which way the pendulum goes, it answers your questions for you. So I have a bunch of these kind of spirit boards. I have this one. I have another one for tarot. I have one for the seasons. And then, of course, I've got the big ones on the wall that do the stuff. But what does this have to do with Airtable? Nothing, because get out of your filthy data and think about the rest of the world, people. Secrets and lore.
Yeah, thank you all for coming to this week's episode. And we're going to cut it off there. Get out of your database and go live your life.
Get out of your filthy database.